Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Leon. I'm a physiotherapist living and working in the lockdown city of Melbourne. Currently I'm working in private practice looking after a couple of clinics. I spend my time doing management and treating patients. If you're new here, this channel is mainly geared at students looking to get into physiotherapy or new graduates who are ready to start working in the field. So today's Sunday, there's not heaps to do in Melbourne at the moment, so I'm going to spend the day just working on a course that I'm writing, squeeze in a bit of exercise and film and edit this video for you guys. So today we're going to be talking about the 4 things that I wish I could go back and change when I started working in private practice. Now, private practice can be a really demanding job. There's a lot of things that you need to learn transitioning from the classroom to the clinic. And universities do an amazing job at teaching you how to look after a patient, but there are a lot of gaps when it comes to working in that industry. So my goal for this channel is to give you guys a clear perspective of what the industry is like and a guide on how to thrive within it. So without further ado, here is my first thing that I wish I could go back and change when I started work. So firstly, it's get organized. What I mean by this is know where all your important documents are. When you start work in private practice, you have to sign up for work cover, for your private health, for NDIS, and for any other insurance bodies of patients that you need to see. And part of this means you need to register all your points of ID, your APRA details, your physio insurance details, and maybe a bunch of other things. And so my advice would be to scan all those documents up beforehand and have them somewhere secure so that when the time comes that you have to submit all this, you know where to find them and the process is easy. I found myself printing them off, losing them, scanning them, then losing them, and the whole thing was just messy and stressful. So do yourself a favor and scan up all your important documents before you start so that when you have to submit them all, it's easy to find them. Prepare your lunches before you go to work. This one sounds silly, but I found when I started work, I was buying lunch a lot, I felt crap, I was wasting heaps of money. If I'd prepared my lunches before I went, it would have made life so much easier. It's a silly one, but it really helps when you're starting out. The other one is get organized online. So what I mean by this, you're going to be given a bunch of different documents from your workplace or to do with your clinical work, and you want to be able to recall them when you need to. So get a Dropbox account or get a Google Drive account, it doesn't really matter, and then spend some time organizing that in a way that works with your brain. You'll find there's so much less stress when you've then got to produce an important document that was to do with your work or send something to a patient. It makes life a lot easier. The second thing that I wish I could change is to learn as much as possible. I can't stress this one enough. Get as much exposure to physiotherapy as you possibly can. I'm talking reading books, going to courses, finding stuff online, looking at videos on YouTube. Just immerse yourself in the world of physiotherapy. You'll find you'll develop so much quicker if you do this. There's also some amazing free resources that are out there on the internet. You don't always have to go and spend $900 on a weekend course to learn how to treat the shoulder better or treat the elbow better. I've found most of my clinical development has come from free resources online in the form of YouTube stuff, webinars and podcasts. And in fact, some of the best learning that you can get comes from things like Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Now, I'm thinking about doing a video where I look at the best free sources of learning for a new grad physio, so if that's something that you're interested in, just let me know in the comments below. The second part of this is to talk to as many people as possible. What I mean by this is hang out with your physio colleagues, watch how they treat, watch how they interact with patients, watch the rehab programs that they give them, watch how they explain conditions. One of my biggest regrets when I started is that I didn't actively seek this out enough and didn't spend enough time with my supervisors or with my bosses watching and learning how they treat. So when you're starting out, spend as much time as possible with your senior colleagues, watching how they treat, watching how they assess patients, watching how they construct the rehab program. You'll learn so much just by simply observing them and seek that out yourself. The second part of talking to as many people as possible is about talking to your referrers. So lots of patients come from doctors or specialists or PTs, and my advice and what I wish I'd done more is get on the phone and talk to these people about the patients that you're seeing. Now, this does a couple of things. It forces you to learn and understand other parts of the medical industry. So if you've got to talk to a GP, you're going to learn how the GP is going to treat that type of condition. Same as if you're talking to a specialist, you're going to learn how a specialist will treat this type of problem. And I would use that same strategy across the board with all referrers. Call them and talk to them about your patients so you can all be aligned in how you're treating them and dealing with them. So I would use that strategy for personal trainers if they're sending someone in, or even like a workplace if someone's injured themselves at work. You want to be calling all the relevant bodies to make sure that we're all aligned in how we're treating the patient. And subsequently, what will happen is you'll learn the different industries of where patients are coming from. The third thing that I wish I could go back and change is to do more Pilates. Now, this is assuming, of course, that the private practice you end up in offers Pilates, but it is a massive part of the private practice physiotherapy industry. A big regret of mine is that I didn't spend more time learning and mastering clinical Pilates when I had the chance. And I found myself offering subpar classes that just weren't very good simply because I didn't know any better. So if you're in a private practice that offers clinical Pilates, I would do as many classes as you can, learn different routines, learn different sequences for different parts of the body, and do it all yourself. This will do two things. One, it'll show you how weak you are, but also you can then speak from a point of experience. And that's important when it comes to cueing different movements or cueing different muscle activations or explaining what the patient should feel while they are doing the class because you've done it all yourself. Pilates is a really great way to manipulate the body in a way that you can activate very specific parts of the body to build strength and function. And if you've never done that yourself, you won't know what it's like to be able to explain it to patients. The last thing is learn how to do the administration. When you're starting out, it's really easy to get caught up in just focusing on your clinical development and your patient management, which is obviously really, really important. But admin is a massive part of the private practice physio industry. If you think of your clinical skills as the driver, then the administration side of things is the car. Life becomes a lot easier as a private practice physio when you know how to manage the booking system, you know how to chase up debts, you know how to answer inquiries when patients are asking about it. Don't fall into the trap in thinking that understanding the administration side of things is just for your clinic's admin. It's definitely not. There are plenty of times where I got caught not knowing the specifics of something that a patient was asking, and look, at the end of the day, it just makes you look bad, it makes the clinic look bad, and it can be pretty stressful when you're trying to manage a bunch of things at once and someone asks a curly admin question that you just don't know the answer to. So my advice would be to spend time learning and understanding the administration side of your clinic. So these are the things that I wish I could go back and change when I started work in private practice. If you like that sort of stuff, then let me know in the comments below. But I will see you in the next one. Cheers.